Hi guys, it's me, Widgie, and welcome back to kind of an episode of the Disney Princess Legacy Challenge. I may or may not have been having troubles with my camera, so I decided to do this instead. I realized at the start of the last episode of this challenge that we were supposed to also follow the rules of the regular Sims 4 Legacy Challenge, and I did not do that. Those rules require that you move your starter founder sim into a large, which is 50 by 50 or larger lot, and set their simoleons down to only 800 simoleons, or not 800, but 1800 simoleons, and then they have to slowly work their way up into something bigger. I did not do that, so we kind of cheated, and I wanted to rectify that situation as much as I could. So what I did at the start of this was move the Snow White family out and buy a really big lot. I couldn't find a 50 by 50 lot, so this is actually 64 by 64, which was even more expensive. So that didn't leave us with a lot of money, which made me panic a little bit. I went into this thinking I was going to create this gorgeous Snow White cottage. I had a reference photo all pulled up, but that did not happen. When they left their old house, they had 2,143 simoleons. Once they moved out, they didn't have that much. I think they had around like 30,000 simoleons. The land itself, just the land, cost 12,000 simoleons. And when they moved out and kept their furniture, that put us on this lot with a total of 3,974 simoleons. So just under 4,000 simoleons to build an entire house, keeping in mind that Sims start out with 20,000 simoleons, so it wasn't a lot of money to go off of here. So while my lack of creativity was one hurdle I had to get over, and my lack of building experience was another hurdle that I had to get over, you can see right now we have like the most basic exterior, which is really freaking ugly, and they're at 826 simoleons remaining. So we don't even have doors or windows yet. So this was a big challenge for me as someone who has done a handful of builds ever in my entire life. So please don't judge me too hard on this. With that being said, you can see that I was waffling around with a lot of decisions here on the exterior of the house. I really wanted it to look like Snow White's cottage, but I knew that we couldn't afford anything more than like the basic $2 wallpaper, which looks really dirty. So that's what I stuck with. The roofing is terrible. I couldn't figure out how to make it look how I wanted. And right now you can see me covering the entire lot in flowers. I was like, you know what? It's supposed to be mystical, magical, and it's just going to be really ugly. So if I can give them one thing, I'm gonna give them flowers. Then I zoomed out and realized how ugly that looked with the surrounding areas, so I undid it all, and they're just stuck with ugly dead grass. The poor whites, man. What I'm struggling here with the roofing is basically on that back side, there was a little bit of overhang that only went halfway across the back. So I was trying to create another little module to compensate for that. I played with extending that other roof just entirely, and I didn't like how any of that looked. So I think I wound up just shrinking the overhang on the back end of the house, which also looked a little weird, but I just kind of gave up at the end of the day. I really couldn't decide how to fix roofing. The next big decision was finding the door and the windows for the exterior. I wanted to have a door that was as cheap as possible, but still looked kind of cottagey. So I think the cheapest doors were 50 simoleons, so I played with this door, which was a double door, but I think in the end I decided on the weird lion knocker just because it looked like it suited the house a little bit better, even though it's not my favorite thing. Those windows were the cheapest. I think each one was priced at 30 simoleons each, and I wanted to have as many windows as I could afford to give the house more lighting, but not so many that we were out of budget, which, let's be real, all of the windows are out of budget, but we couldn't have a sad empty cave, so I had to add a couple. I'm pretty sure I wind up changing a lot of these windows later on to try to give us a little bit more money to squeeze some more things in, but this was the basic initial idea. And then I wanted to work on the exterior a little bit more. Again, they don't really have any money, so I couldn't do too much, but I made them a cute little, well, I guess cute is a subjective term, but a cute little dirt pathway to the front, as well as getting their basic outdoor trash bin, and then I had to buy them a mailbox as well, but I think the mailboxes were free, so that wasn't too big of a deal. Again, when I went into this, I had really high hopes of what this cute little woodsy cottage was going to look like, so I didn't want to let go of the idea of doing landscaping, although I really couldn't do much. Landscaping's expensive, but these sad dead pines were only 1 simoleon each, so I at least gave them a few trees to make the lot, well, look a little less sad and a little less empty. So then we move on to the interior. I kind of just threw these lights around just to give a little bit more lighting in the house so I could see what the heck I was doing and start out trying to figure out the layout of the interior. Walls are very expensive, so I knew it need to be kind of an open plan with only walling off the bedrooms and the bathroom. This is where things got really dicey as far as pricing went. You can see they have about 1,000 simoleons left over. I did not buy a single piece of furniture for the rest of this house. Everything that I grabbed, all the lights, everything is coming from the family inventory from the move. Because I knew I couldn't afford to buy any more furniture. Just building that one wall to wall off the bedroom, they're now down to 600 simoleons. So you can see how expensive walls are. And that's where I struggled right here. I'm trying to make a split to have one kid's room and then a bathroom, which is not nearly enough for how big this family is going to be, but it's a starting point. And I realized just trying to build that wall right there was over 200 simoleons, and at that point we only had 173 simoleons left. So here I start to do a bit of finagling. I think I start deleting some windows, maybe start deleting some items out of the family inventory, basically doing whatever I can to make it so we can at least build a wall for the bathroom. I'm not asking much here, just a little bit of privacy. So here you can see me start to go through the inventory and decide who the sacrifices are going to be. I deleted pretty much all of the lights that were anything other than those basic lights. So like the standing lamps I got rid of. I couldn't bring myself to get rid of their wedding stuff and like their date VIP basket, even though those were worth hundreds of simoleons. I wanted them to have a few mementos of their past and of their start as a family. So I had to keep those, even though it wasn't practical. So now I'm placing the doors, very basic doors, very cheap. And you can see I started to kind of lay down shadow furniture to kind of figure out the layout of where I wanted it to be. The parents' bedroom is over there in the corner. Does it make any sense being there without like a master bathroom or anything? Bedroom? No, but I don't have a lot of options here. The kitchen looked a little wonky, so I played with kind of moving it onto the other wall or having it more in the corner, and that was really difficult for me to decide what to do. Again, I'm not an interior designer. I'm not an architect. I don't know how houses should be laid out, so I just kind of did what I could do. I put the stereo there as kind of a makeshift TV because we don't actually have one of those yet, and I still wanted them to have like a living room space, even though we technically don't have anything for them to do in the living room. The bathroom layout was pretty easy because I pretty much just did exactly what we did in the last house. Now it's just in a different home. Poor corner plant had to go, though. There was simply no space for them in the bathroom. I thought about putting him in the parents' bedroom, and then I was like, you know, everyone deserves the right to enjoy this beautiful corner plant. So I stuck it in the living room and decided to change a few of those windows around to try to get a little bit more lighting in that central space. So I think this is where I start to really play with the kitchen, like I mentioned, and kind of trying to figure out where I wanted it, because I knew that I'd have to fit both the kitchen and the dining area in that space. And I didn't know how best to go about that. I tried buying another counter, realized it was like 100 simoleons, decided that wasn't worth it. All sorts of things. And I eventually, I think, landed on this so that I could fit the kids' high table over in that corner as well as the actual dining room table. I did lie earlier. I said I didn't buy a single piece of furniture, but I was wrong. I did swap out that long table with a short square one because it just didn't seem feasible to have that long of a table in that space. I think this is really ugly. I don't like it, but I didn't see very many other options. If you guys have ideas of where you think furniture should move to make this layout more open or more appealing, please let me know. I am open to suggestions on that. And then because we don't have an actual TV or living space, we had to keep the computer. That's like one of their only sources of fun. And while I could have sold the clutter on that desk, it's like some of the only decorative items we had. I felt like I needed to keep his cute little Zen garden that he earned in the last episode. Wesley deserves that much. The master bedroom was so easy because I had just end tables and then a dresser, just threw those down. And then I added kind of the other items into the living room, such as the guitar and I think the bookcase I already threw in there, maybe not. Now I'm just having problems with my camera, I guess. We're moving into Grumpy's room, which was really hard, I realized, going from such a huge room that he had in the last house and trying to fit everything into this tiny space. I knew I'd have to move some things, like the toilet had to go in the bathroom. I believe I wound up selling the block table. I know that Snow loved playing with her Legos, but it was the imagination skill, and he already had the dollhouse as well as getting read to, and I think you can get imagination skills from playing with the bear or something like that. There was other ways to get the imagination skill, and I just knew that we wouldn't have place for the Legos, so I had to sell those, which was a sad day. But I think everything else fit. I haven't actually tested it with gameplay to see if you can play with that dollhouse with the blocks there or the blocks with the dollhouse there, but fingers crossed it works out for us because I really don't want to have to sell those things. I think at this point it was just getting the finishing touches of some wallpaper, and if I could get some flooring down as well. I could only go with the cheapest stuff, so that was $2 wallpaper and I think $4 flooring, except I did find some concrete flooring that was 0 simoleons, and I put that in the bathroom, and then I think the base flooring stayed in the master bedroom. I don't think we had enough simoleons left over to actually give them carpet, so they just have to deal with gross old, I guess, concrete. I don't know what it is, but they just have to deal with that. Now, this isn't the most beautiful house in the world, but I don't think that it's really any worse than the house that they left behind. It was definitely a struggle to build. The exterior might be a little bit worse than the house they left behind, but we don't have to look at that, so just pretend that the cottage is actually cute. And now we have the peace of mind of not feeling like we're actually cheating, which is a bonus. Thank you so much for watching today's build, you guys. I'll see you in the next episode of the Disney Princess Legacy Challenge with the whites in their new pretty-ish cottage. See you guys next time.